So one of the things that I did this weekend was I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a nurse. Now, she is a nurse in the neuro ward, which means they're dealing with brain injuries and how it pertains to the rest of the body, right? Obviously, we're dealing with paralysis, we're dealing with crazy accidents, that sorts of thing. But there's something that's been happening a lot recently. Now, I talk about how during 2020, women were the shock absorbers of society. Do you guys know these stats? You guys know we lost 140,000 jobs in the United States in December? Do you know how many of those jobs were lost by women? 100% of those jobs were lost by women. 100%. 100%. And so what we're seeing inside of hospitals, you guys, this is crazy. Mini strokes, like consistent mini strokes in these women, and something that looks almost like seizures. I was talking to this nurse about this, what she's seeing, what she's experiencing. And you know what she said to me? It was the subject line of the email I sent out for today's Coffee with Coach. She said to me, Sarah, it's never, ever, ever the men. And these are stress-induced illnesses. Stress-induced illnesses, you guys. That is exactly what these are. Sometimes it's proper eating, absolutely. Sometimes it's a lack of exercise, sure. But those things tend to really come in when? When we're really stressed, right? When we're really busy, when we're taking care of everyone else, we don't take care of our bodies as well as we could. What we're seeing is these women are literally ending up in the hospital because they're being the shock absorbers of society. Now, I would hope anybody listening to my voice right now, you guys are running your own businesses, you're probably at home. And how we work on this with you is, I want to look at where you are consistently putting other people's needs ahead of your own. Now, if you're a woman, that's going to be almost all day, every day. Why is that the case? Why is that the case? You guys have heard me talk about this before. It's because we're trained to do that. We're trained from a very young age to make sure everybody else's needs are met. And I'm really out this month especially. It's International Women's Day this month. It's my birthday month. So I kind of get to pick what I focus on for my birthday month. And that is that I really want to break this trend for us. I really want to give you permission to empower the people around you to take care of themselves. And that's scary for us. So you see how I just flipped that? I just gave us 100% responsibility in the face of this. Not fault, not blame. Responsibility. Meaning we can change it. Okay, not responsibility like you're bad, you're wrong, not like that. And I have to say that because I know sometimes you guys can hear it that way, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have 100% responsibility in that we can ask for help or empower other people to do things. One of the ways I saw this, at least for myself, you guys know I'm on my health kick, which means I'm cooking. I've never cooked this much in my entire life. Now, I have kind of a confession. I'm absolutely loving it. I think I might have lost my mind just a little bit. I went to Whole Foods this weekend and my car was like tilted because there were so many groceries in the backseat. Like I kind of left the store empty. By the time I was gone, there were just no more things in the store. Like I went nuts, but I was buying all these fresh, natural, organic ingredients to come home and make a whole bunch of different things for my family as we're trying different recipes. I'm trying to get my kids to eat healthier, all that stuff. So much fun. But as I was doing this weekend, I watched my kids and I watched where I would jump in and take care because I knew I wanted to talk to you guys about this all month. I really want to kind of focus on this idea of how do we retrain ourselves? How do we start to empower other people to take care of themselves so we're not the ones doing it? I watched where I have empowered the rest of the family, right? Because that's really where most of us are right now. We're not, at our corporate jobs, or we're not, even those of us that own small businesses, we're not in our location offices anymore, like we're at home. And so I was just watching sort of around me, and I watched where I was asked to help. Hey mom, where's this? Or hey mom, can you do that? Honey, where's the, right? I watched for that, just sort of watching how I've set up the family dynamic. Now, that might sound like more like, oh, well, women have to take care of everything. If we don't take care of it, then it doesn't get taken care of. Yeah, if we don't undo this training, it's going to stay the way that it is. Why? Because we're the shock absorbers. And it's very convenient for the rest of society if we continue to do what we've always done. So it is going to be up to us. Is that fair? Probably not, but that's the deal. And we can whine about the fact that it's not fair, or we can get up and do something about it. I prefer the latter. You guys know I'm an action taker. I'm not someone to sit back and go, well, this sucks. Oh, well, gonna go watch TV, right? It's like, this sucks. Let's fix this. Here's what I've done. I'm just sharing for my family. I'm not saying I'm a role model on this, okay? Like, heaven knows I have my issues. But they do their own laundry. They put their own laundry away. They're 100% responsible. My son had a soccer tournament this weekend, and it was like, if your uniforms aren't clean, that's not my problem. If your bag's not packed, you're gonna find out in the middle of the soccer field, so you might wanna double check. And then today, you guys, it's March 1st. It was his very first day in school, in a brand new high school. He's been in the school since September, but has never set foot in the building. And today's his first day. And it was last night, it was the same thing. Do you know where your rooms are? What order are you seeing them in? Do you have a map? Do you know where you're going? Which teacher are you excited to meet? Is there anything you want to bring in? Is there anything you want to show people? Like, it was like this, oh yeah. And then I just let him go do it. Right? It's like those little things. Now, where I still have work to do is if I don't tell people where things are, they apparently can't find them. You guys have this in your house too. This is my favorite, right? So if I organize everything, right? Like last weekend, you guys know I cleaned out my storage closet. We're doing all this kind of organizing, cleaning out stuff for spring cleaning. And it was the same thing. Hey, where's the, so I brought everybody into the storage room. I said, here's this, here's this, here's where this is, here's where this is. Don't ask me anymore. Come down here and find it. And you put it back where you found it. And that's what I mean by, it's like little baby steps. You guys, I know this must sound so stupid. But as I listen to my friend who's the nurse walk women through this, where they're like, what you have right now, the condition you have that has you in this hospital bed is stress-induced. It's stress-induced. And the woman would say, but I'm not under stress. And then it was this breakdown. How many people are you taking care of? Well, I have 3 kids. What do you do for them on a daily basis? Well, I make their breakfast, I get them to school, I clean while they're gone, and then I have my own business that I work on. Unbelievable, right? I'm so excited when she said that. Right, I have this that I work on, I have that, then I gotta get dinner done, and then I've gotta get this taken care of, and then I take care of any animals. Animals are a big thing, right? And by the end of the list, it was great. How many friends need you? Well, I have this one who's got this illness. I have this one who's just diagnosed with something. I have this one who, okay. Then we go through that. All right, good. Do you have any church obligations? Well, yeah, actually I do. I take care of this. I sing in the choir, whatever it is, right? That goes on. Okay, do you have any political things that you do? Oh yeah, I volunteer here. I do this, I do that. And at the end of this list, this woman who's not stressed, right? Who's in a hospital bed for a stress-induced ailment, isn't stressed. The question is, what do you do for yourself? And without fail, consistently over time, what she's seen is that these women burst into tears and say, I don't know how. I don't know how to take care of myself. I don't know what to do for me. I don't even know what I like anymore. And this takes us back to Untamed, right, you guys? That part in Untamed where she says, oh, that woman is so selfless. She's the one that we want to admire and applaud. She's so selfless. Look at what she does for everyone else. And the idea behind that, you guys, in a month where we're celebrating women, is that if you get women to control themselves and each other, you don't have to control them. We're seeing the rise of how powerful we are. You guys, if there weren't 2 million women who left the workforce, some by getting laid off and some by choosing to leave to be the shock absorbers for the family. And that's a decision each family gets to make. But if that hadn't happened, what state would we be in now? Now, it's fine that we do this if it's what we choose to do. But I don't want anyone who can hear my voice to do it by default. I don't want anyone hearing my voice to do it because of training. I don't want anyone who can hear my voice to do it because you weren't chosen. You raised your hand and raised your hand and raised your hand and raised your hand and the teacher never called on you, but all the boys were rewarded for calling out. I don't want you choosing to do this because of those moments. Those are called microaggressions, if you've never heard that term before. It's when someone doesn't quite look you in the eye in a meeting. Mansplaining is a microaggression. That crazy phenomenon when a woman says something in a meeting and then 5 minutes later a man says it and everyone pretends like it's the first time they've heard it. That's what we're talking about. okay? Microaggressions over time building up, telling you that the only way you can be a real woman is if you're truly selfless, lose yourself, so that you end up in a hospital bed crying because you don't even know what you like anymore. Now, what the hell does all this have to do with running a business, Sarah? You know exactly what this has to do with running your business successfully. You cannot do this if you don't know what makes you happy. You cannot do this if you don't remember why you're doing it in the first place. You cannot do this if you're leading with service to the point that you forget who you are. And you guys know that's what I dealt with all of last month. I was so busy working to get the word out because it's so important to me. I forgot to pay attention to me. And my body, my mind, my emotions, my spirit, my soul were screaming, not this way, Sarah. And it took me a full month to go, oh, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, did you say something? Right, because we've all been trained, you guys. I'm not immune to it either. None of us are. Right, so you've got to, as you're building your business, you've got to take the time to step back and say, what's going to make me happy? What's going to have this land in the most fulfilling, rewarding, exciting way possible? How can I deliver this out into the world in a way that's going to fill me up as much as it fills up those that it helps? How many of you know you have a friend or a colleague or a sister, maybe your own mother, aunt, niece, cousin that you know is going through something like this? How many of you have actually seen that before? Or you've recognized it in other people? They may not end up in a hospital bed, right? It also can show up for some people. It doesn't have to be the mini strokes that we're seeing or even the seizures that we're seeing, but the fatigue, the not sleeping through the night, the constant mind chatter or anxiety. For me, sometimes, because my autoimmune disease is in my lungs, sometimes I'll find, like my husband's always like, are you mad? I'm like, no, I'm sucking in air. It'll be a kind of like that. And I don't notice I'm doing it, but I'm actually literally trying to open up my chest because of the anxiety. Like, let's start to talk about this, you guys. It's International Women's Month as far as I'm concerned, right? Yes, it's next Monday is International Women's Day. I'm so excited. I'm speaking at 2 different places, which I'm super excited about, to be able to share this message with more women. But for this month, I really want you guys to start to be aware. And I saw a great post by Dr. Peggy this morning. She shared a great post on Instagram. It's like telling people that happiness is a choice when they're depressed or when things are happening, and how dismissive that is and how hurtful that is. And I thought that was so important for what's happening here. And for me, it also echoed what I've been saying over the last month about my industry, right? Like these platitudes and these memes, like you can wrap up someone's life in a meme. How effed up is that? So dismissive, so hurtful. Just get over it. Just be happy. Just choose to be successful. Well, okay, sure. Great. And I have 49 people in my house who need me every single day, and I'm getting dings and pings everywhere, and everyone is telling me how successful they are all the time. And if I quit ever, I'm a loser. And like, so I was really grateful she put that post up, because it's important that we start telling the truth and not telling you guys. So there's a balance here. It's not telling the truth in the form of whining. Okay. We're coming up on a year anniversary of being in quarantine. A year, you guys. It was March 13th, if memory holds, right? We're coming up on a year of this. It's not about whining. And I hope this year, this great pause, has helped you see where you do have more control than you thought, but also where you're allowing others to take control from you because you're just letting it run, right? Like, we don't want that anymore. Those of you that have joined us through the control worksheet, right? You've seen that too, right? This is about the steps you can take to get back in control, not control everyone else, but to remember that you have some say in how you allow other people to treat you and in how you empower others to not need you so much. And that's hard for us. Can we tell the truth about that for a second, right? Like, I remember, gosh, I think it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't remember, one of those, where I taught my kids how to do their own laundry. It was hard. Not because I didn't love that they were now folding their laundry, right? And I had Marie Kondo'd the house, so they now fold their clothes like Marie Kondo, except my son, who I think hides them under his bed until he wants to use them. His process, whatever. But it was this moment of, they're not going to need me. And I thought of like all the moms when their kids come home from college, they do their laundry for their kids, right? It's that moment of like, see, I love you. See, you still need me. See, I'm your mom. I'm doing the mom things. And I want you guys to look at, for those of you that don't have kids, I want you to look at where you're doing that for loved ones. You might be doing it for your parents. You might be doing it for siblings. You might be doing it for neighbors, for that one friend who can't seem to get her life together and you're always helping her, right? Just start to think of those and recognize, while leading with service is always great, I want you to start to just check in and say, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this because I need to feel needed? And is it actually serving them? Right? Because we don't want to lead with service when it's selfish. Does that make sense? Because it's actually, that's about us. That's about us wanting to feel needed, wanting to feel wanted, right? It's not actually about furthering their lives. Because we can't keep doing this to each other. And like it says in Untamed, it really is the women doing it to each other. Happiness is a choice, sister, get up. Like that kind of thing. And you guys know I'll kick your butt when I feel you're hiding, but that's very different from actually taking into consideration where you are. And that's what I mean about complaining versus taking responsibility. Listen, you guys, I have 2 autoimmune diseases. There are days where my body really hurts. So I have two ways to deal with that when that happens, right? I can like crawl up in a ball and want to cry. Sometimes I do. I give myself 20 minutes and I'm like, this blows. I don't want this to be going this way, right? Just this morning, my trainer and I were doing something really hard for me. And at the end of it, I was so excited because my hip didn't hurt. And usually it does, right? I was so excited. He's like, I haven't seen this happen in a long time. I'm like, it's so amazing to not have that happen. Right? So I deal with that. I work with it. So I'll give myself 20 minutes to be like, this sucks. I don't want to feel like this right now. Right? And I do that at the gym sometimes. I'm like, just give me a second. It's like, I'm going to respect my body and listen to it, but I'm also going to see where I can challenge myself. And that's the difference between complaining. Oh, my mom. Oh, my dad. Oh, my sister. Gosh knows we all have them, right? I know. So there's telling the truth about that, going, listen, I'm dealing with something with my family right now and it really hurts. It's really hard. Those of you that don't know my history, one day I have got to do Game on Girlfriend Live and we're just going to sit down. We're going to have some serious conversations about dysfunctional family because we have to, because it's important. And if you have a dysfunctional family yourself, welcome to humanity. Good times abound by all, right? But it's like you can say, this really hurt me. This was really hard. And I let it go and I refuse to actually let it happen again. And now I do XYZ. Do you get that? Like that's telling the truth. That's not running from it or hiding from it or pretending it's not there, but it's also not being a victim of it. Do you hear the difference? And I think this victim piece is part of that. You guys can listen to the podcast episode number 38. Where I talk about that, and tomorrow's podcast episode where I talk about being internet famous and the never-ending chase of being internet famous. I talk about episode 38 in that as well. But I'd invite you guys to re-listen to that as we go into International Women's Month, and really see where you can take back some of that control. And it doesn't mean people didn't hurt you. And it doesn't mean that what happened wasn't real. And it doesn't mean you don't have physical ailments. We do, right? So we acknowledge them. We go, oh, this hurts right now. This really is uncomfortable. This sucks. Okay. And now I'm going to do this. And if it hurts too much or you pull back, you just reassess and do again. And you reassess and do again. But then you stay out of victim, right? You stay in truth and you stay in power. And you stay in responsibility, which allows you to live your life on your terms. And it's never to be mean or go, F you, I hate this world, whatever. Okay? It's a little bit different. Just quickly, for those of you that have never heard me talk about my own sexual abuse in my past, it was all through my childhood, right? And looking at that, and I remember there was a day, I never ran from it, I never lied about it, but in my early 20s, I kind of carried it like, well, you don't understand. Like I had that going on about it, right? Like you don't understand, in my history, right? You guys know people like that, or maybe you've done it too, because it can go that way, right? Really easily, we can go down that path. And it was in my mid-20s, and I really started to work on me, and I really started to understand self-development when I fell in love with this industry. It was like, wait a second, there are more tools here than I knew about. And that was when I flipped it. And I remember thinking, and this was after years of therapy, again, didn't hide from it, didn't pretend it didn't happen, head on as much as I was able, right? And I took the victimhood out the day that I said, never again. This gets no more minutes in my life. This gets no more minutes in my life I'm done now. And I was truly done, right? So there's that moment of like, okay, I'm truly done. And now I use that same exercise when my body physically hurts and I have work to do, right? It's like, I'm going to acknowledge this. I'm going to feel this right now. Okay. I'm taking an Advil or whatever, right? Whatever it is that I need to do to manage it or take care of it. Done. I'm done for today worrying about this one thing, and now I'm going to gently move on to this. And it might be a day where I'm not as physically active, or I don't run around as much as I do, or I miss the evening walk or whatever, and I'll opt to read or study instead. But I don't let myself be taken off track. I acknowledge it, I deal with it, and we move forward. I hope that makes sense, because I don't want anyone to feel like I was like, oh, see, if you just do what I do, because that's not the point, right? That's definitely not what we want. That's not the case. And everybody deals with these differently. But what I do want to do is help you guys see, as women, there's more than one way to go through this. Whether it's pain, whether it's putting yourself last all the time, whether you have ended up in a hospital room. I know there's several people who have, right? Where you're like, how the hell did this happen? I didn't know I was this stressed out. Be a warrior. Stand up for yourself. And that doesn't mean, you guys, as a warrior, you have to knock everyone out of your way or turn into a man, right? Or fight that way. This is about a constant check-in for us. We get to do warrior like women, right? We get to do this and remain feminine. We get to do this and be exquisitely powerful in each of our own ways. Every single one of you has your own way to be powerful, to be your warrior, and you don't have to do it like anyone else. And that's been part of my struggle over the last month, is I got sucked into the crowd and I was doing it like everyone else. Okay, I don't want to do that. Ever. And yet we're all human, right? And we find ourselves in these moments. We find ourselves in the hospital bed, or somebody you love might be there as well going, I didn't know I was this stressed out. And the only way for us to really handle that is to check in, is to stop the noise and ask ourselves, what can we do to empower other people around us so that they are our shoulder-to-shoulder peers, even our children, right? When it comes to household activity or thought or the way the family structures. The same with our business. Who are we empowering to support the business? Spouses, children, consultants, freelancers, interns. If you're holding everything close to the chest, you're trying to take control by force, as opposed to empowering out and having the control be that way because you feel peaceful. And I really, again, go back to 2020 and hope that we take this lesson from it. I want to recognize that every single day we are presented with these choices. Right? I mean, and by choices, I mean our responses. Those are the choices we have. Rarely do we get to choose what comes in at us, right? Nobody says, oh, great, I'm so happy that my father who's in a nursing home just got COVID. Like that, we don't choose, right? Or, oh my gosh, I just found out my neighbor's child has leukemia. Didn't choose that. No. But always there is our response to it. Go, okay, how would my highest self respond to this? And then my other favorite question, which is very against my industry, because I hate when people make people feel bad for being alive. It's like, no, you didn't choose to get leukemia for your kid. I hate that crap. Please don't let anybody do that to you. So that part we didn't choose. But one of my favorite questions is, if my highest self had given me this obstacle, why would she have done that? Very different way, right? So if my highest self had given me this obstacle of, an aging parent who has COVID, or a lung disease in the middle of a lung attacking virus, right? Like all those fun things. Like if my highest self had put this here, why? Why would she have done that? What am I here to learn? Like what's happening here, and what choices do I have in how I choose to respond? All right, ladies, listen, I hope we make this International Women's Month amazing. You have the choice. You have the power to choose every single day, all day long, how well you're going to take care of yourself. I challenge us all to make this the healthiest year we've ever had, and that includes your mental well-being. That includes your energy level. It includes how you let people talk to you, and it includes who you even choose to talk to on a daily basis. We have more control over that than ever before. Choose wisely. And don't be selfless. You can put yourself first. It's all good. All right, ladies, I love you to bits. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. I hope this was a super helpful way to set up March for you. Go get them. Know that I've got your back, and I will see you next Monday. Bye, guys.